Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sandra and here we do all kinds of things creative and crafty. So about, I want to say a month or so ago, I went to one of my favorite little thrift stores ever, Reconsidered Goods here in Greensboro, and they have lots of cool houseware things, all the things you'll find in thrift stores. I've actually bought a lot of that kind of stuff from there, but they also have a lot of crafting things. So they always have some fun crafting supplies. And I found these old rubber stamps. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with stamping. It's not something I've really super gotten into just because, I mean, there's no real reason, I just haven't. And my only experience with like stamping and card making was when I was actually still pregnant. I was toward the end of my pregnancy and I was doing hair at the time, and one of my clients was like, hey, you know, it would be fun. Let's do a little party and get some of your family friends together and we'll make little scrapbook pages for like the baby book or whatever. So we did that, and I didn't realize at the time, but I kind of got suckered into a Stampin' Up party that way, but it was fine. It was fun. We enjoyed it. I don't know if Stampin' Up is even a thing anymore, but that is what I have in my little bin of treasures back here. So I just had some stamps. I had a few stamps and I had some ink pads. I have had those for 14 years and I was surprised as I went along with this video that there was actually still some ink left in them. Are you just saying hello? Hello. You come here and say hello? Distraction. So, hello. Are you over it? So anyway, I had those and I didn't think there would be any ink left in them. There was, but then about a week or 2 weeks, work in here. Do you, oh my God, can I move on? Are you gonna attack the camera again? Can we do, okay. All right, hold on.
Can't work under these conditions.
So anyway, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a video by the Frugal crafter, Lindsay Weirich. I hope I said her name right. And anyway, I'll post her channel link below in the video as well. She has lots of very cool videos. Cat hair on my face. She's got lots of cool videos on stamping. She does a lot of stamping and techniques and watercolor card making, things that I don't have much experience in. So definitely go check her out. I love watching her stuff because I feel like I'm learning things all the time. But she had this technique where you could actually take water-based markers and use them on your stamps. So I thought, yay, let's try this. Maybe I can finally get some use out of these stamps and make some cards to give out for the holidays that are coming up. So let's get into it, shall we? Here is my bag that I kind of forgot I had stuff in. And these are the stamps that I found at Reconsidered Goods. Oh goodness, sorry. Thought this one was really pretty. I thought it was interesting that it had the space in between. I guess you could put something else in there. Like, I don't know if it was meant as like a photo frame or something, but I liked the pattern around the outside and I thought it would be something interesting to kind of work with. And then we have, I don't even remember what I got, you guys. This one looks like it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I don't know, it looks like it still has some ink on it. I mean, dried, but I'm going to see if I can get it cleaned up. But cute, pretty little bird. Definitely, this was the one where I saw this and I was like, I wonder if I could stamp this and then kind of color it in a little bit, because that would be really interesting. So that was my thought when I saw that one. And who else have we got in here? This one. I don't really know what this is. Or cut. Oh, so this is a stamp and die set. So I don't have any experience with die cutting. So yeah, but anyway, I liked the stamp. Okay, I was going to open this off camera, but did you guys know that there's like a trick where you can, I don't know if it'll work on this because it's so big, but like where you can take this plastic packaging and actually just squeeze it. It's not going to do it because I saw this on like on TikTok. Anyway, you can squeeze them and then it'll just pop right open, but
of course this one's gonna make me look stupid.
So let me just get some scissors. Oh, all right, so, oh, okay. Oh, wait, what? Oh, there's the bumpy side. Oh my gosh. Oh, I wonder how long this has been in the package. All right, so there's this one, which I think is also really pretty. So we're going to play with this. And I have a block. I don't think I have a block this big. I played with some stamping stuff a long time ago. I think I have like a little square block. I don't think I have one this big. So let's see what we have. If not, we'll just make it work. I can maybe put it on the table and work. Anyway, we'll see. Let's start playing around. So the first thing I need to do is clean my stamps. And I have this Stampin' Mist that was still in my little bin. And yeah, it worked okay, but I realized later that wiping it off with a dry cloth was not what the instructions said, like you should use a wet cloth. So that ended up working better. But yeah, here I'm just cleaning everything up the best I can. So I don't know what's in this stuff. I was looking for ingredients, but I didn't see any. It doesn't have, now, before I say this, it doesn't have a bad smell, but as I was spraying this, I felt like it smells like grandma's house would smell. So now my room kind of smells like that. It's not terrible. It just smells, I don't know. It just smells like I'm an old person. I don't know. Anyway, but it did a really good job of getting all that ink off, especially when I added water as the instructions say to do. Funny how that happens. And then I got this one clean as well. So, I guess we'll just put you back there. So let's jump in, and I'm going to share what else I've got here. First of all, so I have these Eco Line brush pens. I shared these in another video where I was doing like some sketchbook things, and I haven't really used these for anything. I've gotten so used to using my alcohol markers for everything, and you know how like when you just get used to stuff and you just kind of forget that everything else exists. So yeah, I'm excited to try this and get some use out of these. And then I also have these, which I got for nostalgia. My cousin in Germany, when we would go visit him occasionally in the summers when I was little, had these. I remember these because I was so jealous of how cool they looked like at the time. I was like 5. It was the 80s. I was sheltered and I loved art and craft things, but I loved the shape of them. I just thought they were the coolest things, but this is what they used in schools. The kids in Germany and probably the rest of Europe. I don't know. But anyway, I found these. They were on sale one day. I don't even know if they were on sale. Actually, they were at Jerry's Artorama, and I have that discount deal there. So anyway, I got these, but they're also water-based. So I thought these would be a great thing to try on this technique that Lindsay shared in her video. Okay, so now I also have these creative cards by Strathmore. They're ivory with decal. They are, I want to say they're watercolor cards because they have this really nice texture on them. I've used a couple of them to make cards for friends, and I just drew on it, and that was fine. And I used my alcohol ink markers on it because of course I did. But let's see. It doesn't say that they're specifically watercolor cards. It says they're ideal for everything. Rubber stamps, die cuts, collage, color pencil, blah, 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 blah. So they're good for all the things. So we're going to try that. And then I do have this crinkly, loud, hang on, okay, envelopes that a friend of mine recently moved and was trying to get rid of some of her crafty stash. So she gave me these. And yeah, they're just envelopes. I mean, just envelopes. So I'm going to see how that works out. These come with envelopes, don't they? Yeah, these have their own envelopes as well. But, you know, I mean, I don't know, write a letter, give somebody a, just get a card from the store, put it in this instead, decorate it, like whatever. Anyway, I don't know why I'm even explaining like what an envelope does, as though you don't know what an envelope does. Anyway, this is what we have to work with. But first, on my first experiment, because I'm a little nervous about doing this, because I don't have very much experience stamping, like hardly at all, really. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm fascinated by it for some reason. I've just not done it. I'm like, ooh, I see things happening with it, and I'm like, oh, that's such a cute idea. So anyway, so let's see who we will start with. And I think, because I've been looking at the bird for a while, cleaning it, we're going to start with this one. So I also have, just to ramble on some more, I still have these stamp pads from when I was exposed to this whole thing. But these are like, I mean, again, I did this when my kid was still in the womb. So these are like 14 years old. So oh, no, they still have ink on them. All right, so we'll see how those work. So, how about that? So we'll see if any of these still have a good bit of ink. That's kind of impressive if they do. And then I got these two probably way more recently at Michael's, and I can't even remember why. So that's what we're working with today. So let's see what we can do. So right off the bat, I think I overthought this way too much because I thought I was going to get super creative and artsy on my first go around. So I chose a bunch of colors and thought I was going to layer them, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. So this is super sped up, but this actually took kind of a long time for me to get all of these markers and colors on here, and we'll see what that ends up looking like. So, okay, obviously my first attempt was an epic fail. So I'm not sure what happened here. A whole lot of nothing happened, I guess. But I just cleaned this one off a little bit too. So I don't know if maybe there was some residue on this or if I was just taking my sweet time a little too long. So I'm going to try, let's see. I have this green pad and because this is so big. Okay. Can I figure out how to open this thing? Oh my God. All right. I can do this. I really can. Okay, took a minute, but here we are. So, I don't know, oh, that one doesn't really have any ink on it still. Well, maybe a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can get some of this ink on here. Oh yeah, no, not really. This one's pretty dried out, I think. But let me see if I can get anything on there at all. Okay, well, that's a little more. So now I'm wondering if it's the paper. I don't think so. I think okay, I'm going to spray it. I got this sprayer from my hairstyling days. I'm going to spray the ink pad a little bit. Well, no, I'm not going to spray the ink pad. Oh gosh, why are you stuck? What is with all the technical difficulties? There we go. Okay, come on now. Come on. I'm going to actually spray the stamp pad because I don't know if you're supposed to spray the ink pads. Just give that a little squirt. And then rub that all over because I didn't really get any in the middle, it looks like, and see what's happening. So I think possibly I just took too long. This is pretty dried up and crusty. And bam! All right, and just give it a minute too. I know in her video she like gave it a minute for some of these things. Okay, so that's looking okay. All right, so while this is still kind of wet, I'm going to spray it one more time. I know we probably don't want it super drippy. I'm going to try the marker again and see. Oh gosh, I don't know. Well, that's too juicy. That's too watery. Okay, that's probably not going to work. Okay, there's tip number 1. Don't get your stamp pad too wet. Just dry that up a little bit. So let's just try it again, but I'm just going to do just a little bit. Oh, there we go. Now it looks like the color is picking up more on it too. So, yeah. Maybe I just did too much of an area at one time and they dried up on the thing and I can feel myself trying to do it again. So let's just keep it simple. Bam. There we go. Okay, so first lesson learned. We're not going to take an eternity to color this in like we're doing a coloring book. There is some urgency at stake a little bit, just a little bit. So that said, let me take this little bitty one that I have over here and color it without doing anything else and see what happens. So that worked pretty well. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to try like 2 different colors on this one now. And I'm going to do, let's see, we're going to do the lighter pink on the top and kind of try to bring it down a little. And then a little bit of that red and overlap it a little bit and see if I can get, just experiment for a second and see what happens with that. Leave that for a second. And so then that also makes me think, it just makes me think. It's just got my wheels turning. So, oh, there we go. Oh, I think I moved it. I wiggled it a little bit. It looks a little nervous. It's a little shaky. But, okay, good to know. So, let's see. So that makes me think, like as far as this one, I don't know. I think maybe it's just not conducive to doing such a large area. But I did see where she sprayed one, she was doing these flowers and she sprayed it for more of a watercolor effect instead of getting kind of these crisp little lines and things. So I wonder, also, I wonder if these are different. I mean, they're both rubber stamps, but this one feels a little different than this one does to me. This one feels almost, I don't know how to explain this. Like this one feels smoother, but also like harder somehow. Like this one feels more flexible. And I don't know if that's just because of the smaller details, but even on the places where there's more coverage, and maybe it's because it's got all these little fine details in it. So, no, well, I don't know, because that right there, well, I don't know.
Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
But I'm going to spray this one with water, try to cover it with some ink real quick, and let's try some of the blue, just to have something different to look at. I'm getting bored. And see how it does with that. And let's see, you might be a pretty blue. Ooh. And see how it works with that. So I'm gonna give it a little spritz off camera so that I don't, soak everything. And we'll just try it. So here I ended up starting out with the blue marker and just realizing that it really wasn't covering the stamp too well. And I don't know if it was because the stamp was still unevenly wet or the marker just is not the right type of marker for it. So then I went in with the blue stamp pad that I had to kind of cover it up and get a good coverage. And then I thought I would outline the stamp so that I could go back in with another color and hopefully line the stamp up perfectly enough to add some different color layers. But it's really tricky to line these back up again without being able to see where it's going underneath. So you'll see that as well, but just kind of playing around. So I'm going to try one more thing because I think part of the issue is that the inks that I have, these Stampin' Up! Inks, are pretty freaking old. And I'm actually surprised that they still have any ink in them at all. But I guess also because I never really used them very much. But I don't know. I still thought that they would probably dry out. But they didn't. But also, I'm not sure if maybe these brush pens just don't have enough juiciness in them. So I'm going to try, actually, before I do this, let's try with these pens. And I've cleaned this up and dried it. I'm going to try it with these. Because these seem to be releasing a lot more ink, first of all. So I'm just going to do a little corner of this. Oh my gosh, it's so hard for me to... Like, I could space out into this and just do this for probably way longer than I should before it dries, I mean. So I'm going to try it with these and see what happens with these because there's a lot more ink coming out with these. So maybe the brush pens are already kind of watery and they're just, maybe they're a little too juicy. I don't know. So I'm going to just kind of brush over this and then see if, now it kind of looks dry already, even just that. So maybe it's the tools that I'm using. I mean, probably. Oh, there we go. Okay. So those do work better. So these brush pens.
They kind of fail me.
I don't know what to do with these. I don't know what the heck I'm going to use these things for. I mean, it worked fine for the little one. It worked fine for the little stamp. But yeah, that's pretty. And that I'm happy with. Okay, so now as far as this part, because I don't know why this keeps not showing up. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, which is very possible. Where's that grandma stuff? But I'm going to try this other ink, this stamp pad, this generic stamp pad. This doesn't even have anything on it. I don't know where I got it. So I'm going to try this and see how that works out. Find the dry side. Because I can't figure out why this little centerpiece keeps disappearing. So let's see about that. So I'm just going to fill her up. This has, oh gosh, I don't know. This is kind of beady. I don't know where this came from either. All right, we're just going to smooth it over. That seems to be working. Just smooth it right on there. Ooh. Oh, yes. My vision. This is what I was hoping for. And then I thought this would be a pretty outline. And then I could color it in on something. Okay, so let's see. I don't know why I'm so stressed. I just really want it to work. So I'm going to hold it for a minute too, because maybe I'm just not holding it down long enough. Maybe I'm not giving it time to, you know, commune with the paper and settle in, get cozy, get comfortable. I don't know. All right.
Are you ready? Are you good? Can we do this?
Oh, man. I don't know. I wonder if something's kind of warped. I don't know why it won't do that middle bit. It really should. I mean, it's completely covered. So this maybe it's the stamp. I don't know. Maybe I need to rub it. I don't know. No, that didn't help at all. So maybe it's the stamp. So we're going to switch gears away from this one, and we're going to come back to our little bird friend, and we're going to try that one. All right, for a second, I got really excited because I was like, oh, it came out really nice. But then the body is missing and one of the leaves at the top. So this leaf at the top, and it looks like this whole little section of the body, which is totally covered in ink. So I don't know why that would happen. I mean, this isn't right. So I wonder if I just need to like really press down all over. Does it want a massage for me? What the heck does it want for me? Blood? Oh, there wasn't even nearly enough ink left. Okay, so I'm going to try again, and I don't know. See what happens. So that came out even worse than the first time. So now I'm wondering if it's the computer paper, if the paper just doesn't have enough grip, and also if I absolutely have to clean them in between. So I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm making a mess. Hazel's getting curious. Oh, we saw that, Paul. You little criminal. We saw you. It's okay. So at this point in my editing process, I realized that I was rambling on way too much and trying to figure out how to do this. So I decided to just fast forward everything else so you guys wouldn't get intensely bored, and just decided to do voiceover. So I went ahead and inked up the little bird stamp again really well and set it over to the side while I played around with the little heart stamp, because I thought maybe let the ink soak in a little bit more. So here I am. This turned out beautifully. Love it. Super cute. And we're coming back to the bird, and it is still sad. So have no fear. This is not a video of epic failures only, I promise. Also decided I was not going to do anything with this one because it was glued to the plastic, and we're just going to save that for another day. Anyway, so moving along, I decided to clean up my stamp,
And I also thought that it was possible that it was a little too damp. So I'm setting that aside for now. We're going to my little bin of goodies and searching, another dirty stamp, searching for other stamps that I can use to add to the cards that I'm giving, maybe play around finding all kinds of things that I forgot were in here, all sorts of little crafty things. I keep it all. Don't ever throw things away because you never know when you'll need it. So, and there's shenanigans. So anyway, so I decided to play around with these a little bit while I'm letting the other stamp dry, because I think when it was just still a little damp, it was not letting the ink work really well. I could be totally wrong. If you know better, please let me know in the comments. This is a whole new thing for me. But here I am getting a little creative with the little elephant stamp, and I learned lesson number 2 or 3, whatever lesson we're on here, and I sprayed way too much water on it. It got a little soggy, so I set that aside to dry and decided to try it with the black ink without spraying any water. And this has a lot of flat surface, so it kind of came out a little patchy. I'm telling you what, you guys, if anything else, I thought this would be really easy, and it's really not. So once my little elephant was dry, I thought I'm just gonna go in with my markers and I'm going to just kind of touch her up a little. All right, so just touching up my little elephant, and then you'll see in a second that I tried something different with the larger stamp with the bird stamp. So I covered it really thoroughly with the black ink. I pressed the ink down really well, trying to get it in all those little nooks and crannies. And then what ended up finally working with these larger stamps, you'll see I'm going to flip this over, inspiration struck, and I just rubbed the top of the back of the card and just pressed it down really well, being really careful not to move the card so it wouldn't smudge. And that got all of the ink everywhere I wanted it to be. So excited. So that's how I ended up doing the rest of these. So I went back in with this stamp as well to try that one out, and I just used the card that already had some mistakes in case it didn't work out well, but yay, it did work out well. And then here I learned a little lesson about making sure the ink is really, really dry before you go in there, because you'll see where it smudges. So it does take a little while for these things to dry. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm experimenting with layering some colors on this little flower doodad, and I'm very happy that turned out well too. So I think just like anything else, practice makes perfect. You start moving a little faster, it works out well. Here I'm using watercolor markers, the ones I used before, to see how they would do on the ink, and it's fine. I think less is more. You don't want to stay on it too long or it will start to bleed into the marker. These are the alcohol ink markers that I have been using for a while, the Artfinity sketch markers. This is set B. I have this set. There is obviously a set A. I do like these. I chose this one. I can't remember exactly what colors were in the other one. They were on sale when I got them about a year ago, I think. So there's lots and lots of colors to choose from here. Can't offhand tell you what the difference is between set A and set B, but this is what I'll be working with today. So these are pretty nice. There's so many. I'm still familiarizing myself with them, but they are, oh, there we go. Artfinity sketch. So they have the little brush tip and then they have the chisel end as well, and they are refillable. So that kind of drew me into those. So let's see how these do today. So before I jumped right in and did my cards that I want to give away, I wanted to kind of compare the difference between the water-based markers and the alcohol markers. So you can see I stayed on that one spot with the alcohol marker, and it didn't really blur it too much. It did a little bit, but not as much as when I used the water-based marker. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you don't have alcohol markers, don't stress out. If you can use your water-based markers, here I'm just experimenting to see kind of like the difference between them. They'll work fine, but I think with the water markers, you just want to work a little bit more quickly. So now I've moved this operation downstairs, and you can see where a couple of the cards, I think the ink was actually running out on that little tiny ink pad, and that was the problem at this point. So what I decided to do was not stress about it. I'm just going to take out my microns, my 01, my 03, and my 005, which are the really fine ones, and I'm going to go in and I'm just going to draw. I'm going to do the thing that we creative people do and make it work, right? So I'm just going in and I'm filling in some of those lines lines and using the really thin markers so that it doesn't end up looking too drastically different from the lines on the stamp. And that works out really great. So I was happy with that, pleased with that. A couple of places where the ink was really running out, I just sort of right here, I'm just sort of comparing notes because there wasn't anything to go by, like to just trace and darken, and that's fine. This is where the handmade goodness comes into play and you can do what you want. So that's what I'm doing here. The micron markers, I use those all the time. I know that they work really well with the alcohol markers as well, so I trust those for this. And it's another one of those things, it's what I use all the time, so it's what I'm familiar with, and I don't know too much about too many other ones. But here I'm just going in, I'm coloring to my heart's content. You'll see where I'm layering the darker colors over top in some places. And I did try to show you guys each color that I was using, but again, I was trying not to make this an hour-long video and make everybody bored to tears. So I'm honestly not sure how well those color names are going to show up. But at this point, I think I have rambled on enough, and I'm just going to play a little music so you guys can watch me color the rest of this in, and we'll wrap it up. So there they are right before I start packing them up, and I just wanted to share this little envelope. I made a couple of for gift cards, and I will link a video for that I made a couple of years ago. They're super easy to make with scrap paper. Tuck everything together and ready to go.
So those are the cards that I made. I hope you guys enjoyed that little video. And now I am probably going to want to stamp cards, make cards from now on, because why not? I think we should like get back into making more handmade things. I don't know why we don't. I think I'm gonna start doing that more, like for cards and stuff like that too. It's not that complicated. So I think I'm definitely gonna do that. Let me know if you guys are also gonna start making your own cards, if you have stamping experience, if you love to stamp. I think a lot of the rubber stamps are kind of going by the wayside for environmental reasons. A lot of rubber products are being replaced with other things, which I totally understand. But I think too, if you have stuff at home already, then yay, use those things and don't just let them waste away somewhere. And I'm definitely gonna be looking for more in the thrift stores as well. So thanks again to Lindsay for your awesome videos always, the Frugal Crafter, and I will be back very soon. I have a couple of color mixing videos coming up for you guys, which I think will be very helpful, and I hope you enjoy. So thanks for hanging out, you guys. I will see you soon. Go be creative and crafty, and have a great rest of your week.